I'm Laura Bonnell, and this is the Living with Cystic Fibrosis podcast coming to you from Detroit. Please subscribe and even rate and comment on our podcasts when it moves you. I learn something new with every podcast, and I'm always inspired by the people that are showcased here. We don't give medical advice. You need to connect with your doctor for that. I hope that this Living with Cystic Fibrosis podcast educates you and sparks some volunteering or advocacy. The CF community needs people like you. Thanks to our sponsors, Viatris and Vertex, for their support. Miss America 2025 is Abbie Stockard, a champion for kids, health, and cystic fibrosis, and she's using her platform for good. We're honored to have her on this podcast. Abbie attended Auburn University as a nursing student and performed as a Tiger Paws dancer. She wanted to become a national advocate and a role model. And at just 22, she earned over $89,000 in scholarships through the Miss America opportunity and is using her platform to promote pediatric health, women's leadership, and awareness for cystic fibrosis. She will tell us who inspired her to raise over $200,000 for CF research, and she was also honored as the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation's 2024 Hero of Hope, and that's so obvious why that happened. She also created High Five for Kids, which is a wellness program that empowers children, including those with chronic illness, to build healthy habits for life. Abbie talks with us about balancing school, service, and advocacy, and how she's using her voice to drive real change in healthcare and beyond. Welcome, Abbie. I am just so honored to have you as part of our CF community, and I'm so grateful because your schedule is so busy. It's so crazy busy that you had the time to do this podcast. Thank you so much.
Of course. I'm so happy that I could be joining you. Nice to meet you virtually. Literally anything for the CF community.
I know, and you've done so much. We can talk about my friend Melissa Yeager. You were at the Claire's Place Foundation. I mean, we're all just talking about how wonderful you are. So just know that everyone is so grateful to you. So thanks for raising CF awareness 1,000,000% just since you've started doing it. So thanks.
Thank you. It's easy when you're passionate about it.
And you have, such a great platform. And that's what I wanted to start talking about is this something you always thought about when you were younger, that this is something that was a goal of yours? Or when did you decide that this was something you were aiming for?
To win Miss America?
Yes.
Yes. So honestly, I never imagined that the Lord would bless me in this way. I grew up watching Miss America every year with my mom. We'd sit in our den, we'd have Miss America on the TV screen, and we'd do what most people do. We'd make our predictions. But when I was a little girl and I watched Miss America, I looked at those girls like they were everything. They were so well-spoken. They were so talented, overly gifted, and I just never saw myself in that light. And I think it was fear that kept me from competing for so many years. I've been a dancer ever since I was 2 years old, and so that's what I focused on for so many years growing up. However, it changed for me when I started college at Auburn University. I have two incredible parents, but they are divorced. And at the time that I was going into my freshman year of college, my mom was having to work 4 jobs to help provide not just for me, but I also have a twin brother who was also going to Auburn, and then a little sister who's only a few years behind. And my parents made so many sacrifices, and they never let me feel the burden of that. But I wanted to help in any way that I could. And so someone came up to me and they said there was a pageant called Miss Auburn University, and it was a prelim to Miss Alabama. And the winner would receive a full year of residential tuition. So, of course, that's like the best offer you can get. How could anyone turn that down? So I got all of my paperwork together, created a talent in less than a week. I went and competed. I did not win the title. In fact, I don't even like watching it because I was a fish out of water. But I loved the experience overall, so I decided to sign up for another prelim in Birmingham the next weekend. Ended up winning my very first title. I went to Miss Alabama. It took me 3 years before walking away with the title of Miss Alabama. And then when you win your state, you have one chance to go to Miss America. And so I went this past January. I got in the top 11, and that was my goal. I told everyone, if I get in the top 11, I'm going to be happy. I know that I would have made the state of Alabama proud. Obviously, there was other plans in store for me. I was then called into the top 5, and then there were 3 girls on stage and then 2 girls, and it was me and Miss Texas standing there holding hands. And crazy thing is, she actually looked at me before my name was called, and she said, "Abbie, you're going to be a phenomenal Miss America." And then they announced Alabama. Confetti fell from the ceiling. I get chills every time I talk about it because it's just so crazy that she just had a feeling that it was going to be me. And it's been absolutely incredible. And I've loved every experience that's come with holding this title.
It is amazing. And I know there are stereotypes of Miss America, but I am reading this book now, the National Organization for Women. That's an organization that started, I think, in 1966, and it's about women who are advocating, and one of them won Miss Michigan, Patricia Barnett, and she was saying how important it was, and it gave her a platform. So I hope there's less and less judgment. Nobody should be judged. It's a phenomenal thing that you have achieved, and we're all so proud of you. And I did have a crown question too. Do you have to wear it every time you appear on behalf of Miss America? I love it. I think it's beautiful.
Yes. It's so funny because some people ask me, like, do you have to wear it all the time? Like, do you wear it in the airport? And I'm like, no, I did not wear this thing in the airport. But anytime it's an appearance on behalf of the Miss America organization, you will see me in my crown and sash.
I love it. I honestly think we should all have our own little crowns.
Listen, we all wear invisible crowns in a sense, especially when we're serving other people, because that's what this whole job is about. It's service oriented. You're traveling across the country to engage with people and give of yourself and your time to others, especially for me with cystic fibrosis.
And before we move on to cystic fibrosis, just about this crown. So tell me, like, how much does it weigh? What is it made of? And then it's passed on to every, you'll pass it on for the 2026. Yes.
I'm kind of embarrassed that I don't actually know what it's made of, but you'd be surprised how many people ask me if it's real diamonds. I mean, like, that's one of the top 2 questions I get asked, like, almost everywhere I go. It's not real diamonds. I would be a walking target if it was.
Right.
It's actually very light, surprisingly. I've learned as you go up in, like, I guess, ranking in the organization, the crown gets nicer and it gets lighter. So from, like, local to state to national, this one's kind of curved, so it hugs my head better. So it's like I can go for hours and I don't even know that it's on, which thank goodness for that.
Right. Well, it's beautiful, as are you, inside and out.
Thank you.
Switching to cystic fibrosis, tell everybody how you became aware of cystic fibrosis and why you got into and made this one of your big passions.
Like I said, I didn't start competing in this organization until I was a freshman in college. But every girl that competes on any level of the organization has to create a service initiative, or also called a platform. And it's really just anything that you're passionate about. My very best friend, Maddie, was born with cystic fibrosis. We became inseparable at 9 years old. Maddie and I were put in the same 3rd grade class together, and she was my childhood partner in every single adventure. I honestly don't remember a day that went by Maddie and I weren't by each other's sides. At 9 years old, I never really understood what cystic fibrosis was. I didn't understand the seriousness of her condition. And as a little kid, you don't really think much about hospitals or sickness until it stares you in the face. And I remember a day came where Maddie was missing a lot of school. And so I reached out to her parents and I found out she was in the hospital. And I'll never forget walking into Maddie's hospital room. That was the first time I recognized what a devastating disease cystic fibrosis was. I saw my normally energetic and lively friend lying in a hospital bed, just looking so weak and fragile and just struggling to even breathe. And it was almost traumatizing to see your best friend like that as a little kid. And it was in that moment I made a promise to her that I would do everything in my power to fight for her, but to fight for others that were living with cystic fibrosis. So I started attending the Great Strides walks with Maddie when I was 9 years old. I've been to almost every single one of them since. And then when I started competing in the organization, there was never a doubt in my mind that I would choose cystic fibrosis as my cause. I got connected with the executive director of Alabama's chapter, and with their help, they've helped me accomplish way more than I ever imagined for the CF community. And that's what's been the most fulfilling part of being Miss America, is getting to meet so many people that are a part of the CF community across the country. It's way bigger than I ever imagined. And it's so cool how I went from knowing maybe 3 or 4 people living with cystic fibrosis to now like a ton, like maybe at least one person from every state I've been to. So it's been incredible. I'm so thankful that I chose CF as my cause.
And it's wonderful. And both my daughters who have cystic fibrosis say hello. They
Hi.
think it's really cool. Emily's 28 and Molly's 30. So they're really proud and pleased with everything that you're doing. And how is Maddie doing? How's she doing health wise? How's your friendship?
Right. Actually, Maddie is doing amazing. She is on Trikafta, and you would never know that she's living with cystic fibrosis. Something about Maddie is she is one of the most adventurous people I've ever met. She's very spontaneous, and so she likes to spend her summers somewhere outside of Birmingham, Alabama, which I hate because that's where, I live when I'm not traveling. But I actually went to visit her 2 weeks ago in Charleston. She's doing an internship there for the summer, and then kind of a full circle moment, Maddie and I are going to be roommates next fall when we go back to Auburn. And I am currently a year into Auburn's nursing program, and I have a year to go. And Maddie just graduated, but she's staying to get her master's in exercise science. And so we are going to be rooming together, just me and her. And I can't wait because it really shows like our friendship truly has grown for, I guess, almost 15 years now, ever since we were 9 years old. And now we get to spend the last year of college together. And I just can't wait to see what the adventures that we're going to go on together throughout this year. She's definitely going to get me out of my comfort zone, I think.
And it's incredible. And just like I feel like my whole path to cystic fibrosis is serendipitous, do you feel that as well?
Yes. I mean, I just have moments where I'm like, wow, I just can't believe this platform has grown into what it was, and also seeing just how much research has been done over the past 4 years of being a part of the CF community. It truly is incredible. And every appearance that I have gone to, I've had someone come up to me thanking me for the work I'm doing with cystic fibrosis. And it's either like a sibling of someone with CF, or an aunt or an uncle or a cousin or a best friend. And most of the time when they talk to me, they're just bawling, crying because they're so thankful. And it just like makes me feel so overjoyed. And it's just so rewarding to know that this work really is making an impact. And it just makes me even more hopeful for the future of this disease and finding a cure.
Plus, you are going to be a nurse. So you get all of this. You get
Yes.
it from Maddie's perspective, and you get it from being a nurse. Like, you understand what this disease is and PICC lines and everything that people have to go through. What would you say moves you the most, or maybe worries you the most about cystic fibrosis, and maybe gives you the most hope?
What moves me the most is definitely what I just said, those appearances of meeting people in the CF community who are just so, so grateful for the awareness that we are shining on cystic fibrosis that so badly needs that increased awareness and fundraising and advocacy. Of course, what worries me about this disease is now that I have become more aware of other CF fighters besides Maddie. I've met a lot of people that unfortunately are part of the 10 percenters and can't take Trikafta. And I got to go to the Volunteer Leadership Conference in San Antonio this past year with the CF Foundation. And I met so many parents of those who have kids who are a part of the 10 percenters. And it just broke my heart because we're celebrating the research advancements that they're making, but there's still a percentage of kids that can't have that. And because of that, their life expectancy is significantly decreased compared to other people. And that's what worries me the most. But at the same time, I'm hopeful because I truly believe that in little time, we're going to have an answer for them. I got to go take a tour of the CF research facility at UAB in Birmingham. And then I actually got to go to the CF Center in Salt Lake City, Utah, and I got to speak with one of the doctors. And I mean, these researchers and the doctors, they are incredible, and they are passionate about finding a cure and making sure it's done for cystic fibrosis. And so I truly am so hopeful that in the next decade, we're going to get the answers that we need and hopefully a forever cure found.
I agree, and I hope so as well. And I have to say, in talking to other parents whose kids don't have a mutation that works with the current CF modulators, it's really hard when my own kids are on, one of those drugs, and then another parent, you're just like, oh my gosh, you just feel guilty. You feel like, we just really need to get there, and hopefully it is soon. For people who, because I always say to people, if you want to advocate, you don't necessarily have to go to DC. You don't have to go to your state capital. Do whatever you can do an email. And for people that you talk to, what do you tell them? They aren't Miss America. They don't have a huge platform like you do. How do you encourage people still to advocate from where they are?
Well, I have not always been Miss America. I mean, you have to start somewhere. And I was just an 18-year-old girl living in Birmingham trying to win my very first local title. And I used to have the mindset that a lot of people do. And that was, I'm only one person. Like, what can I actually do to make a difference? And it just finally took me realizing that my voice matters. My voice does carry weight, and people care to hear what I have to say. And so I finally just had the boldness to just ask for what I needed. When I started to attend the Great Strides Walk, that's how I got connected with people. That's how I got connected with the CF board. I told them some of my ideas, and I learned that people really are so willing to help. It just takes having the courage and the boldness to ask for that. My first thing I got to do with cystic fibrosis, like big thing, was I spearheaded my very own fundraiser. And it took 9 months of planning, but all it started with was an idea that I ran by the CF board. Then from there, I won my first title on Miss Hoover. And so I was like, I'm going to build a team of people. They don't know a lot about cystic fibrosis, but I'm going to make sure they do after this. So I got connected with the police chief and members of the Chamber of Commerce, and they were all willing to rally behind me to make it happen. They helped me secure catering and event space, secure silent and live auction items, ticketing, and we were able to raise over $190,000 in one night. It was the largest CF fundraiser that has ever been put on in the state of Alabama. And I'm so glad that I was able to just stop worrying if it was going to fail or worrying if I don't say the right thing, and just went for it because it was so successful. And so I think it just starts with encouraging people to use their voice, start going to all the small things within your local community, network and make those connections, and it really can turn into something big.
And you've probably gotten great feedback and have inspired, obviously you've inspired so many people. Are they keeping that event going, or are you keeping that event going?
Well, it was a roast. So we roasted the Hoover police chief, who is now actually running for the mayor, which is really cool. So we couldn't really keep it going because of that. But I'm still very involved with the foundation and some of the fundraisers that they're putting on in the state of Alabama. I'm also really pumped because once I do have more time, once I'm done being Miss America, I will be back in Alabama. And my goal would be to hopefully become a board member and help facilitate some of those fundraisers. So I'm excited for that because I know my work after the Crown and Sash with CF will definitely be continuing.
And it's a lot being Miss America in the midst of going to college. I mean, how do you balance all of that? Are you 22 still? Like the
Yes,
last?
ma'am.
Okay. So, I mean.
Well, okay, I'm not doing school right now. I don't think I could do it because I'm on an airplane every single week. So I had done 1 year of the nursing program. And then when you win Miss Alabama, which I won last summer, you already have to take a year off of school. So it worked out great. I had already taken a year off, and then I won Miss America. And then fortunately for me, I give up the crown in September. And it's 3 weeks into nursing school starting back up. And my professors are willing to work with me to keep me caught up for those 3 weeks. And then I'll be going right back into the program the week after this crown is off my head. So I have a year and a half to go. I won't be Miss America anymore, but then I'll graduate next December with my Bachelor of Science in Nursing. So I'm very thankful they worked with me.
Right, absolutely. But look at all the growth you've had and what you've learned you can't learn in school anywhere.
No, it'll definitely make me a better nurse because of that.
What else are you bringing to nursing because of everything you've learned with the CF community during your reign?
Well, I'm excited because when I hear about a lot of these disease processes now in class, but also with cystic fibrosis, I've experienced that and I've seen it firsthand, which a lot of these students haven't. So I'm excited to like use that as a platform to hopefully share more awareness about cystic fibrosis and hopefully encourage some of my cohort members to get plugged in with the CF community or really just also anything that they're passionate about with any type of disease process or, any type of appearance or event across, the Auburn community. Because it really is so important to get involved in different organizations that you're passionate about. And of course, I'm going to hype up, the CF Foundation to them.
Absolutely. And do you know, no pressure to pick like a CF clinic or anything, but do you know where you want to be when you graduate and you are a nurse?
I don't know. I see myself going back to UAB. My twin brother just graduated with his nursing degree from Auburn last May, and he is starting actually this week at UAB's cardiovascular ICU. So I'm really excited to hear how he likes that experience. Birmingham does have a cystic fibrosis center. I don't know how involved nurses are there, but when I went to Salt Lake City and saw the CF center, there's a whole section of the hospital just dedicated to CF patients, which I thought was really cool. So I could definitely see myself somewhere, some type of hospital that has an area just for CF patients. Because it's like I'm getting to do my job, but it's also something I'm passionate about. So like that seems like the perfect combo.
And of course, your parents and your brother must be so proud of you. But what kind of feedback, what things do they tell you?
They're so proud of me. Let me tell you, none of us thought that I was going to win Miss America. Like, of course, my family thought I could do it. It's just when you go there, you truly never know what's going to happen. There's 3 different panels of judges, there's 52 contestants. You just don't know how judges are going to feel or what they're looking for. And my family and I were so convinced I wasn't going to win. We actually booked a ski trip to fly out from Orlando to Vail, Colorado the day after Miss America. And so when I was in my room with Miss Alaska, I had this suitcase that had all of my ski stuff, like my ski helmet, ski jacket, ski pants. Because my family and I were like, well, let's do something fun when Miss America's over. But of course, when I won, they were just going crazy. My parents were a mess crying, but they have been so, so supportive of me. It's funny because my dad wasn't really a pageant dad. He didn't know a lot about it when I started, but he just wanted to support me. And now I swear I get a text from him like every week saying, just watch your crowning video over again. And now I'm sitting here crying. It was like once it was in the car, another time he was like, I'm in the sauna and I'm just crying because I'm just so proud of you. So they've been amazing. And I'm just so thankful that I have 2 incredible parents that have helped me throughout this year, especially just always being on the road and like traveling alone. It's so nice knowing that I get to go back to Birmingham when I don't have stuff and I get to spend time with them. That's kind of how I refuel and recharge before going to the next city.
That is so sweet. And it must be because twins are usually so close. It must be hard to be away from your brother and traveling so much.
I love my brother, but we're not one of those twins that's like ride or die. Like, I love him, but we are so different personality wise. Like, it still confuses me that we ended up going into nursing together because we are just so different from each other. But he was so proud of me at Miss America because the top 11 had to do topics. I don't know if you know anything about it, but
Not much.
so when you make in the top 11 this year, they did random topics about different political or social issues, and you pick a topic, you'd read it, and you'd have 30 seconds to talk about it. And my topic was unemployment. And my brother always gives me a hard time because I feel like sometimes I can be a bit of a spaz or an airhead, but I gave a really good answer and I pulled in a statistic. I think he was more impressed by that than me actually winning Miss America because he was like, wow, I can't believe you knew that. Like, you did that. So it was really, really sweet. Also pretty funny.
That is wonderful. And it must be strange, like when you don't have your crown on and you're just, kind of walking around and and then you're on a plane like the next day. It must be so intense and so much this year.
I mean, your life truly does change overnight. I've never spent so much time traveling, but also alone because I went from being a college student with 3 other roommates to now traveling on planes by myself, staying in hotel rooms by myself. So it's really helped me grow and mature in a lot of ways. I remember someone telling me, this year you'll go through challenges that you didn't really expect. Like one Miss America had told me that it's one of the most lonely yet overcrowded years of your life. And I had no clue what she meant by that. But now I do. It's just an adjustment because you are alone so much. But then the second you put on that crown and sash, you have an organization to represent and you have to be on because being Miss America is being a light and being an inspiration and making people feel seen and special. So it's definitely been an adjustment, but I'm telling you, it's my work with cystic fibrosis and those like service appearances that keeps me going because of the fulfillment I feel after doing them.
Tell us also the High Five for Kids initiative,
Mhm.
which you started.
Yes. So my work with cystic fibrosis kind of pairs into this. As a nursing student, I've seen firsthand in my clinicals how important it is to learn healthy habits and pursue a healthy lifestyle at a young age because those habits will serve you for a lifetime. And so, one of the things I've gotten to do as Miss America this year, as well as, being a CF advocate, is talking about children's health. And so, when I speak to children, I have this little acronym and it's called High Five. So, the H in the high stands for healthy eating. The I stands for increased activity, G, good sleep, and H, hydration. All good habits to build to pursue a healthy lifestyle. And then the 5 part is like 5 pillars of health. And it can look like whatever you want, like 5 servings of fruits and vegetables, maybe 5 days of exercise or activity every week, 5 cups of water a day. It's just a good way to challenge yourself and set goals, especially as a little kid. And then at the very end of it, I get them to high five their partner, and that's their way of locking in their promise to each other that they're going to start taking care of their health.
Oh, that is wonderful.
Thank you. It's been fun to teach little kids.
And you talked about it a little bit, but as you go back to nursing school and things settle down a little bit for you, do you still plan to be involved in the cystic fibrosis community?
Absolutely. I hope to get involved with the Auburn CF community, but also I'll stay very close with the Birmingham CF community and all of the board members of the Alabama chapter. And really, I do hope that in the next 2 years, I can become a board member.
What is maybe the biggest lesson that you have learned about advocacy? We talked about it before, but I was on a meeting the other day and the leader of this meeting was talking about, voices have made a difference in the CF and the rare disease community. So do you feel that as well? Do you see the strength and the change that people are making?
Absolutely. And there's so many little things that you can do that can truly go a long way. Like start attending the Great Strides walks. Social media is an incredible tool to use your voice. And when I first started getting involved, I was trying to come up with creative ways to get people's attention because I didn't really know what to do. I mean, like I said, I used to think I was just one person. What could I do for such a large disease? But I reached out to one of the CF researchers and I was like, could we do like a Q&A interview and I'll chop it up into pieces and I'll post one question at a time on social media. And it was a huge hit. I mean, I got over several thousands of views and that was just such a simple idea, but easy way that people can follow and understand. And right from that, just learn more about cystic fibrosis and what even is it, how to get involved with it. So just like finding little ways to get creative and use your voice. It doesn't have to be some big thing. It can just be something little. Another idea that I did when I first got started was spirit nights. I reached out to several restaurants in Auburn and in Birmingham and asked if they could hold a spirit night where a percent of the proceeds would go to the CF Foundation. And they were all in because so many restaurants do spirit nights. So that's a great way to raise funds for CF. Just so many little things. And that didn't involve any public speaking if you're scared of that. That was just a simple email and coordinating a night. So there's lots of little things you can do. I know it can be intimidating, but just take it step by step and you can watch how just a simple idea can really grow into something.
Those are great ideas. You need to brainstorm for the Bonnell Foundation too. We would.
I'm happy to do it.
Yeah. Both you and I talk so fast, like we could really keep going for a very long time, but I won't keep you because I know you have another thing. But you talked about how you stay grounded, but how do you keep track of where you're going and where your next gig is, sort of?
Yeah, so my faith keeps me very grounded, and I'm very thankful that I do, like with the Miss America board, we have people that coordinate all of my appearances and flights, hotels, what all I'm doing. So they take care of that. I'm just in charge of preparing and showing up. But it can be exhausting and a little bit draining, but my faith, it really has kept me going a lot this year. When I first won, I kind of was freaking out because I was looking at all the other contestants that I competed against, and I was comparing myself and thinking, well, she's much more well spoken than I. She is more talented than I. All these things, like, why would they choose me? Like, what if I let people down? What if I don't fulfill expectations people have for me? But that's where my faith come in, and I had to realize, okay, Abbie, Esther 4:14, for such a time as this, I am in this position on purpose, for purpose. And it's not for me to just prance around and take pictures and look pretty in a crown and sash. It's an opportunity to share the Lord's love with people around me and, serve others the way that Jesus calls us to do. And so, anytime I am drained or maybe not, the most excited, that's what I remember. Like, you really can leave a lasting impact on someone and you may not even know it. So that's been very, very helpful for me this year, and it's helped me grow a lot spiritually.
I love your strength and I love your outlook and everything. And thanks for sharing that. Do you even in spite of that, do you find sometimes people underestimate you?
Yes, I think that there are unfortunately still stereotypes on pageants. So one of my goals this year was to help break that. And this is kind of funny, but I got to meet with President Trump a few weeks ago. And I also think that was an example of the stereotype being broken. I mean, we have thousands of young women ages 14 through 28 that are competing in this organization locally or on the state level. And these women are incredible. This organization teaches you skill sets that will allow you to be successful beyond the years of a crown or sash. They're goal-oriented, they're motivated, they're dedicated to their service initiatives. They're so well-spoken, ambitious. That's what you find when you meet these types of girls. And you're equipped with critical marketing skills, brand management. I've learned how to network, become a lot more confident when I'm speaking in public. But also the scholarship money. I've acquired over $89,000 in tuition scholarship, which is a huge plus and, why I started competing in the first place. And I think the second anyone has a conversation with me or a girl in a part of this organization, you see that they're women of substance and drive. And I think we're breaking that stereotype, one girl at a time going out and doing these appearances.
Absolutely. I mean, you're terrific. You've told us, your plans to finish nursing school and everything, but do you have any longer term plans that you're thinking about after you graduate with your nursing degree?
Well, I will have some scholarship money left over. And so after I acquire my BSN, my goal would be to get a couple years of experience and then hopefully pursue a more advanced degree, whether that's becoming a nurse practitioner or maybe a CRNA. I don't know what it's going to be. I'm hoping I'll get a better idea once I actually start working as a nurse, but I would love to use the leftover scholarship money to go back to school.
This is a bit of a silly question, but I mean, if you were the nurse for my girls, I mean, aren't you going to throw it out there every once in a while that you were Miss America? I mean,
I don't know. I just might, especially to the little girls. I might like bring my crown or something and let them touch it. Cause I could definitely see myself in pediatrics. This year has shown me that I think it's one of my gifts. So I might just keep my crown in my backpack if I need to pull it out.
Oh, I think that's wonderful. And you are definitely going to change lives and minds and inspire so many people.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on this podcast. And just as we're wrapping up, is there anything that you wanted to mention about cystic fibrosis or about being part of Miss America that we didn't talk about?
I feel like we covered everything. But if anyone wants to reach me or follow my Miss America journey, you can. It's just at Miss America. Or if you have any questions about getting involved with the CF Foundation or more about what I did, feel free to message me. It's just at Abbie Stockard. I would love to help you in any way that I can because I've been there.
And we will put that in our show notes as well, so to make sure everybody can get that information. But thanks for being part of the CF community. Again, thank you, and for inspiring so many people.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
The original music in this podcast is performed by Kevin Allen.
It's not complicated.
Who happens to have cystic fibrosis.
We all got our worries and fears. I know it's got you frustrated, but loving you is so alright.
This has been the Living with Cystic Fibrosis podcast. For more information and to learn more about the Bonnell Foundation, visit our website at thebonnellfoundation.org. That's the BONNELL Foundation.org. This podcast was sponsored by Vertex Pharmaceutical, The Science of Possibility, and Viatris. It was produced by Jag and Detroit Podcasts. Follow our show in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're listening right now.